Welcome aboard, my boys. Let's have a good time here this evening. I'm going to show you something that I think will be a big asset to you. Now, Jerry Hill wrote a book a while ago, and it's a really, really good book, and it really helps in describing indirect aiming. A few years ago, I started talking about the parallel aim, but I would bring it under the target. Well, that's really indirect aiming. I was sort of discovering it for myself, but didn't quite know what I was seeing. It wasn't until after I saw Jerry's book and it said, it's okay to do that, Gare, that I started doing it. But anyhow, I've got something to add to it. Now, in Jerry's book, you're going to see that Uncle Howard taught him to have his arrow down, and he would start pushing with his left arm, and as he pushed it on, the arrow tip would just go over the target and down to the magic spot. Well, that's great. But here's the secret, I believe, is put the feathers of the arrow right in front of your eyesight, right in front of your mouth, right where it's just going to straighten out and it's going to be touching your anchor. So you're still going to be pushing it on, and it's going to go over and down into the magic spot, but the back is going to be very easy to line up because we're pushing from close, you know. Our hand is going to be pretty close. So once that left arm goes down, we just have to keep it coming straight back under our eye. And that's where we're going, under the eye. Of course, I'll be back in a minute. Well, my friends, there are so many ways to shoot. Perhaps too many ways, you know. Standing sideways, you know, like you can stand sideways, you see, but if I lean back, I can also move my arrow just by leaning. There's just so many little things that you can do. This type of pushing an aim, though, is I'm pushing from close. The arrows and the feathers are very close to my face, though the arrow points off in another direction. But as I push, it will go over and down, and all I have to do is just line it up. So the secret of that is pushing from close. It makes it so much easier. You know, if that arrow is really close to your face, it's really very easy to do that, right? Arrow, back of the arrow, very close to the face. So we're just going to push on, put it down on the right side, and draw. Works great. Works great. So even though I've shown you so many different ways of shooting, I think that this is a very good way. But the arrow is close, it's pointing off to the side, push it forward, then it comes down on the right side, and you simply come back. Indirect aiming is the best way I've ever seen of aiming. Call it instinctive, but that's not adequate, you know. Push it forward, let it come down onto the right spot, and you can see that it's straight. You know, the back hand will just let your eye tell when it's straight. Look at your target, put the arrow up in front of your face, push it on, come back. Oh, and look at that target. Yeah, don't be looking at your arrow and stuff like that, you know. Okay, guys, back in a minute. Okay. Yeah, they've extended that lockdown, so it'll be about another 3 weeks. But we're just going to push it on and then have the tip come down on the right side, and then from about 6 inches or so we're going to pull straight back, keeping the arrow parallel to the target, and then we're going to hit the target. From about here, now see, I just come straight back, deadly. So the first part is to push it on. Keep that feather right in front of your face. Let it come over. Now from this pivot point, there, see, it all goes straight. And now I'm just going to come straight back, right in there. So that's what I'm describing to you today. And I've shot a lot of different ways, but this is closer to the idea that Uncle Howard taught to Jerry, and that is to push it forward. And you know, I'm going to have this arrow in front of my face, though, so that when I draw back, it's not far. But we just sort of bring it up and push it on, let it come down into the spot on the right, relax our fingers, the arrow goes straight, and then we just simply come back. Beauty! A beauty for my cutie. Again, eye on, up, press it on, let it come down on the right side, let the fingers relax, it's perfectly straight, right in there. So again, I showing you so many different ways, and then I get, you know, complaints about about it not being really like Howard, and that's true. I'm not Howard. Nobody is. Get over yourself. Now, right hand in front of face, push it into the spot, let it pivot, come straight back to the eye, Wango Tango. Okay, guys, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, guys, you know, I shoot these days 150 shots a night, but I've started to put a little Band-Aid on my hand. Can you see here? There's this really hard callus, and when I shoot it, it will sting. So anyhow, I started to put a little bit of a Band-Aid on there, and probably after a week or two, that would go down. But anyhow, you know, protect yourselves at all times. Yeah, it was stinging quite a bit, actually. You know, it's hard to imagine that you don't want to aim your arrow at the target. Hand close, push it on, let it come down, let it pivot till it all goes straight, come straight back until you get to that spot. Sometimes ways of shooting, you know, if you put your head over, you still have to aim on the right, but you get your head down like that, you can draw perfectly straight. So there's just a million ways of lining up, you know. Up and over, pull the pressure on, get it coming back. Beauty. I find that it's much better to line that arrow up at 90 degrees, you know, at 90 degrees, even if you're aiming off, rather than on an angle. You know, if you're shooting on an angle, it's much more difficult and you will often shoot to the left. But if you can get that arrow under your eye, you have a much better chance of being able to line it up. Easy to say, hard to do. Push it on, let it come down on the right side, let it pivot till it all goes straight, then just bring it down. It's much easier to bring the arrow down, as Jerry says in the book. Right on. Anyhow, back in a minute. Okay, guys. Archery's kind of difficult. So folks invent all kinds of ways of trying to make it easier. One of the first things that most people do, including myself when I first started, was you simply want to aim the arrow at the target. Isn't that what you want to do? Of course. There's a target, aim at the target, hit the target. Not so simple. With a bow like this, I find that indirect aiming is much better. You just keep looking at the center of the target and shooting. But it's very important not to take your eyes off the center of the target and to draw parallel. You're not pointing that arrow at the target. It just goes over, you see it go straight, you come back, and you drill it. And, you know, get a good deep hook that is not 90-degree fingers, but hooked right in there. I find it's actually better, though you'd think it would make it harder to release. It works just fine, and it lets the bow become much lighter. You know, so we're just going to push it on from close, let it come down, let it go parallel. You've got to play the angles. When that arrow is coming back, it's got to be at 180 degrees or 90 degrees to your line of vision. But that's what I mean when I say straight. Get that deep hook, push it on, let it come down, let it go straight. It's kind of repetitive, but again, I can change my style half a dozen times a night if I want. But tonight, this is what we're doing. And it's a very good style. So I don't want you to be getting all confused. Hand close, push it on, let the tip come down. It's on the right side, relax the arm. Now that's the pivot point, it all goes straight, comes straight back. Hope you're catching on, boys. Okay, my friends. You know, Jason was saying that he's been practicing, but he shoots right and high. He was wondering what that could be caused from. Must be cops or something outside. But one of the things I said was simply, if you shoot high and right, aim low and left. Also, your shot tends to follow your anchor. So if you keep moving your anchor to the right, your arrow will start moving to the right, or vice versa. Move it to the left, and you'll start to shoot to the left. So I would imagine that it's possible that you're anchoring a little bit on the right without realizing it, and that's what's putting those arrows over there. And shooting high, well, that's always just a problem. But one of the things that you can do to help shooting high is draw with the back of your arrow higher. The higher the back of that arrow, the less chance you have of putting the nose up. So, we can just get the arrow in front of the face and push it on, and you can see that the arrow is on a bit of an angle. So I had to drop it down a little bit. But the higher the back when you're drawing, the easier it is to gauge the elevation. So that's a couple of little things, Jason. Okay, guys, back in a minute. Okay, guys. I kind of enjoy shooting bows like this because when I was a boy, about 7 or so, there was that Errol Flynn movie, Robin Hood. So that made an impression on me, So when I imagine an archer, it's kind of a Robin Hood kind of a guy. I'm going to explain what I'm doing first. I'm going to push the bow forward, and as I do, the arrow is going to go slightly over and down on the right side, and my hand is going to be very close to my face, and my head is already set on that angle, and I'm going to simply come back to my anchor, relax my arm, and let it go. But the arrow will be aligned on the right side of the target, and I'm just going to put my right hand in front of my face, push it up and on, and it will come down in that right spot, relax my arm, and now I'm just going to come back to that magic spot. I'm just going to put my head down a little bit so that I get it lined up to here. Yeah, and by the time I was 10 or so, I can remember I used to come home from school and there was Robin Hood again. Only this time it was Richard Green, and that was a famous cereal. Not the kind you eat. Push it forward, up and on, let it relax and all line up, get it right back to your eye. Only your eye can tell the true direction of the arrow. Only your eye. Touching all over your face here and there, that's not really arrow alignment. You're using angles. Push it on, let it come down, let it all relax, get it right into that spot. Yeah, Robin Hood. So that's who I am. I'm Robin Hood. I'm not Genghis Khan or the crazy guys in those movies, Deliverance or that kind of stuff. Push it on, up and over, let it all relax and go straight. Bring it straight back. Popped in the hole and popped back out again. Isn't that great? I guess I've chopped so many holes into the center part there, I just went straight through and hit the wall and came back out. Anyhow. hand in front of the face. Push it forward, see it go up and over. It comes down on the right side. Relax. That's the pivot point. Now it's coming straight back. Keep your eye on the target. How was that for fun? Back in a minute. Okay, guys, so I've hit the target enough times that it's eaten a little hole right through the target padding, and the arrow went in anyhow and hit the brick wall and bounced back out. You notice what can happen? See how the little insert popped back out from the force? So basically, I've never had trouble heating up a carbon arrow a little bit. Never. But anyhow, if I heat it up a little bit and just give it a little push, you can see it went right back in, and that'll be good for another few hundred shots. But that's all you gotta do. Anyhow, back in a minute. Okay, guys, once again I'd like to go over this picture that I got from Jerry's book. Now, again, the arrow is sort of pointing off to the side a little bit, and as we begin to push, we'll see that the tip of the arrow goes higher and higher and higher until it just goes over the target, and then that final little push, and we will push it down into the magic spot. Now, again, at the back of the arrow is right in front of my mouth, right in front of my face, right in front of my anchor. So as I push and I see my arm straighten out and I push that tip down into that spot, at the same time this arrow now has straightened up and is coming straight back to be under my eye. I don't anchor at the corner of my mouth. I anchor over on the cheekbone, and I will generally tilt my head slightly so that it touches that spot. But anyhow, that's really what we're doing. So you're going to see the arrow go up and then down on the right, and you're going to see my hand anchor, and then I will relax and release. So I'm just going to push it forward, and it's going to go up and down onto the right side. I relax and pivot, and now for those last few inches, I just come back. You keep that arrow coming back at 90 degrees, not with the tip on, but at 90 degrees parallel to the target. Seems odd, doesn't it, not to be aiming at the target. I believe that this is about as close as I can get to Howard Hill's form. Push it forward, see it go up and over, tip comes down, relax. Now just bring it back. You can turn off the computer now and go to sleep because I'm not going to change it. You know? So look at that target with the weak eye. Push it forward. Let it go up and come down. Let it go parallel. Keep it coming straight back. Look at the target with the weak eye. Push forward. Let it come down into position. Find the pivot point. Now come straight back so that it's under your eye. Okay? Anyhow, I don't think I can tell you that too many more times without it getting boring. So basically that's it though. That's it. Regardless of all the other ways that I've shown you, because you can approach the target in different ways, but this in my mind is interpreting Howard Hill's idea pretty good. You know, it's just push it on until you get your arm out there and strong. This hand is close. The arrow is over here. You're looking at the center. The arrow's over here. And now that it's from the pivot point, go straight back, relax, and let go. Anyhow, I'm going to let go. So you guys have fun. I'll talk to you later. Bye now. Okay, my friends. So we've been shooting my interpretation of the Howard Hill style this evening. And now we are going to shoot the Gare chin style. Now, in my style, I'm going to stand sideways to the target, and I'm going to take a little backward step, like the scissors. You know, just like the scissors. When I put the bow up, it'll go up on the right side, and I'm going to bring it back until it touches my upper cheek. Now this allows me to do a straight draw, and it's quite accurate, but about the shoulder on, a little backward step, put it up, you'll see it go down on the right side. But we've done a lot of different styles, eh? You know, a lot of styles. Little scissor step, put it up, get it down right on the cheek. Gare chin style. Why can't I have a style? Shoulder, back step, get it on the cheekbone, bang. So it's a fairly simple idea, but it's the eye on, shoulder, back step, put it up, and just line it up. Okay? So, that was not the Howard Hill style. That was the Gare chin style. Again, shoulder, back step. Put it up, and when you do, it'll be on the right. When you draw, get it on your cheek. And I've had enough for the night, so I guess you have too. But when you use the Gare chin style, it can work just fine, you know, okay? You'll get your hits. I'll teach this style to you next time, because this evening was Howard Hill. But I'll teach you my style next time. Back in a minute. Or back in a day. Bye now.